Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of my 52 MG replica update. I don't know where I left off in the last video, so I'm just going to recap everything that's going on. I started out changing the bushing for the shifting lever rod because it wasn't shifting right and it got locked into gears. I don't know if you've caught up on the videos, but what happened, the mount, just a second. This is the mount. The bushing sits in that round spot there. And it's just a plastic bushing, and it holds the shaft still so you can shift it. Well, as you could see, that is shot. So I put a new hanger and new bushing on, and re-welded it here to remount it, and went to put this all back together back here. And put it all together and tried to shift it, and it just would not shift. It was stuck in gears. So I figured out that I could smell the transmission had been burnt. So something on the inside, whether there's synchronizers in there or not, I don't know. Or their bearing is shot in there, I don't know. But I ended up getting a new new to me transmission. And right there it is. Now, I'll get to that in just a second. But what I want to do is finish putting this back together here, make sure it shifts all right. I've got the transmission bolted in. I do not, however, have the CV joints on. So bear with me a minute. Let me get this the shifting rod back together, and you can I know it ain't much of a deal, but you can watch me put it back together. How's that? So let me get you set in a tripod someplace so you can see what I'm doing. Excuse me. Thank God. You can't see there. Let's try putting you there. Let's get you over in here. Okay. You know, this tripod is a real pain in the ass. I know I've said that before. All right. Just wonderful. Let me come around to see if you can see. Yeah, you could see. Get that out of the way. Now, cleaned all that up for me. trying to get the hole lined up. You guys remember how many times I said I hate this light? Yep, it's on there. Sorry, can't you see? I went 4 times over to Pierce Auto to get this transmission right. First time I went over, I took my transmission with me. Yeah, we got one out. It's perfect. Well, the throwout bearing was wrong. Mine had a different style throwout bearing. So they had to switch my throwout bearing. Well, it was too close to 5 o'clock. So I had to go back the next day. Actually, he called me and found out that the pressure plate with a different throwout bearing was wrong. So they had to order a pressure plate. It took 2 days to get there. So I went over, got the transmission. They put the pressure plate, give me the pressure plate. I brought that home. And that night, the next night, I started putting the transmission in. And I got all the way. It all bolted in, clutch all hooked up. I want to put the CV joints on, and my CV joints are 3 1/4 inch from bolt hole to bolt hole crossways, and the ones on the transmission for the cup is 3 1/2. So it wouldn't fit, it wouldn't work. So I called him. He said, "Well, it shouldn't be different." Well, it is. I'm over here now. I said, "Well, it is." Why won't you stand up? See if it makes a difference what side you're on. I don't know. Boy, you guys just don't want to stand up. There. So he said, "Well, it shouldn't make a difference." I said, "Well, it did." So I took one of my cups off of the transmission, of the new transmission. Took that over with me, and he took the cups off of my transmission that was still over there on the bench, and tried the new transmission cups. On my transmission to make sure the splines lined up, and it did. So he gave me them cups, because otherwise I would have had to buy CV joints from J-Bugs that were 3.5 inch, which is 90 millimeters, I think. And that way I didn't have to buy anything. So I brought it home, and they gave me the cups off my old transmission, and they lined right up with the new cups. So I didn't have to buy anything, which they were, the CV joints, I think, were $45 a piece, which included the snap ring. And so I got lucky there. I didn't have to buy anything. You know, I gave $500 for the transmission and $80 for the pressure plate. All right, that's in there. Let's make sure that. Boy, that's nice and tight now. Third, fourth. I think that's going to be all right. I hope so. Okay, now let's go back to a few other things that I had done. And then I'll shut you off and I'll do what I got to do, because it's hot in this garage. There you see the new pressure plate. The clutch disc it's only got 2,000 miles on it, so I'm not going to change it. I should, but I'm not going to change it. When I took the motor out, my ductwork was all smashed up. There it is over there on the floor. I mean, it was just, I had two 4-inch pieces going down in front of, down through there, in front of the rear wheels. So it was drawing the cool air up and blowing it down up over the heads and keeping everything cool. So with that being all trashed, I had 5 inches that I could use for space from here to where it hits the back of the car, where the back seat is, right up in here. So what I did, I got another 6-inch piece of pipe here, and screwed it onto my starter, which gave me the 5 inches, and I came off with two 3-inch starters, and cut the holes for them, put the starters in. It's good and sturdy. It's not going to come apart. Well, that one might, but so then I could come off of here with two 3-inch pieces, and in front of the tires, and keep the car cool. I think I've got to spin the motor over to make sure that these sheet metal screws aren't too long and they're hitting the pulley that's in here. They sent me home with, I told you, with the cups. And let me get you set up here. There's the cups. You can see them right there. They just go on with, there's a rubber cap right there, just pull the cap off, and there's a snap ring that goes in there that goes on. That goes on there. Just goes all around it and snaps it and holds it in. and that's how it holds on there. So I'm going to be, I got the snap rings in here and the plugs. I'm going to put all them together. These CV joints are just in there with an Allen screw. It's hard sometimes to get them to break loose. I had to use vice grips on them. And then I used, I don't know what size Allen wrench it is, but I used Allen wrench and loosened them up the rest of the way. So I'll put them caps on there and finish bolting up the rest of the transmission. I got to put the airline back on the shock. I knocked that off. Then I can go ahead and put the engine back in, put the starter in, and get this thing fired up, and maybe go for a cruise this weekend. But I don't think it's going to be a very nice weekend for it. It's supposed to be only a high of 70 around here on Sunday. Rain tomorrow and rain Sunday, I think they said. So I'm going to cut this video here. It's 17 minutes video, 18 minutes. And I'm going to get to work on this thing. And the next video I'll do is when I've got everything back together, including the bumper, put the motor back in it, and finish wiring it, because I had to cut some wires, run the throttle cable up through there, and make sure everything shifts okay. So I appreciate you stopping by the garage with me and helping me work on some stuff. My brother sent me a picture of a for sale, an MG replica car down towards Albany area. I told him to buy it for his son, but I doubt he will. So, but anyways, I'll bring it back later on when we get everything squared away, get the car running again, make sure the transmission and everything shifts just fine, and then I'll work on the fuel gauge again. I'll make that, it's got to be adjusted just a little bit more. It's about I don't know, 1/8 of a tank off, and I want to fix that. So thanks for stopping by, and give me a thumb and then a liking. Share this video with your friends if you find it interesting. And if you ever have to change the transmission on a VW, make sure to measure the CV joints when you get it apart if you're going to be buying another transmission. And if they're a different size, either you can buy a new CV joint or take the cups off of your transmission and put on the new transmission. Apparently, that transmission I had in here was a 69 and it was out of a thing. How they came up with that, I don't know, but they said this transmission is a newer style transmission and the gearing is different on it. So that ought to help in the long run on the highway speeds, so the motor's not screaming as much. What else? Anything else? I don't think so. That's going to be all. Thank you very much for hanging out with me, and we'll see you next time on my 52 MG replica update.